All right, let me move on to James Comey. He is the head of the FBI. Yeah. I've always been a fan of him since 2000. Well, I guess we found out about it in 2006, but he was the guy in 2004 when Bush tried to pull a fast one with wiretapping. And he's a Republican. He said, everyone makes judgments based on race. I mean, he's the top cop. So he was talking about police and all that issue, that stuff we got into, that conversation about race that we're kind of not having now. And he's saying, no, let's have it. And here's a quote. He said, police officers work in environments where a hugely disproportionate percentage of street crime is committed by young men of color. And then he said, a mental shortcut becomes irresistible. The two young black men on one side of the street look like so many others the officer has locked up. See, the cops are not racist, he's saying, but we're only human beings, and this is the country we live in. I got to commend him. I thought
Bill, this
I'm so freaking pissed. I think I'm going to have a pitch fit.
First, all of us in law enforcement must be honest enough to acknowledge that much of our history is not pretty. At many points in American history, law enforcement enforced the status quo, a status quo that was often brutally unfair to disfavored groups. It was unfair to the Healy siblings and to countless others like them. It was unfair to too many people. I am descended from Irish immigrants. A century ago, the Irish knew well how American society and law enforcement viewed them, as drunks, ruffians, and criminals. Law enforcement's biased view of the Irish lives on in the nickname we still use for the vehicles we use to transport groups of prisoners. It is, after all, the paddy wagon. The Irish had some tough times, but little compares to the experience on our soil of Black Americans.
people that are black are often treated unfairly. What? Oh, cry me a river. Oh, the people that are black, they're often treated unfairly by the cops. Maybe they should stop dealing with the cops. Maybe they should stop committing crimes. Black people are insanely more criminal than every other race of people. Or no, they're the victims, right? They're getting victimized. Oh, I'm supposed to feel bad for that?
This is what is meant by white guilt. What is that? This drivel, this social media tripe. This is the regurgitation of all the ultra-liberal PC assholes and social justice warriors. I'm not proud to be white. I'm not ashamed to be white. I am white. I didn't sign up for this shit. I mean, I'm this skin tone by no fault or achievement of my own. I mean, what the fuck is this about? And should we be expected to necessarily agree or disagree on something based on their whiteness? But this is what we've come to expect from
James Comey. Black people in general, criminal or not, treated unfairly by police. This is a fact that is backed up by many statistics. This is what the head of the FBI was addressing in his speech. Versus you wanting to focus instead on black crime, especially that of murder. So, what are you trying to say here? That it is okay for innocent black people to be stripped of their rights because criminals that are black commit more crimes in regards to murder? This is the most idiotic proposition that I've ever heard of. Now, why don't you chew on these statistics? African Americans now constitute nearly 1 million of the total 2.3 million incarcerated population. African Americans are incarcerated at nearly 6 times the rate of whites. About 14 million whites and 2.6 million African Americans report using an illicit drug. 5 times as many whites are using drugs as African Americans, yet African Americans are sent to prison for drug offenses at 10 times the rate of whites.
So we're arresting them because they have a previous marijuana possession charge that we jacked them up on a corner for and took out of their pocket illegally.
The leading cause of incarceration of an African American male is a nonviolent drug offense.
In Baltimore, we focus on who commits crimes in Baltimore. And who commits crimes in Baltimore? 16 and 24-year-old black males commit crimes in Baltimore. That's who you do car stops on. That's who you focus on.
Now imagine these two hypothetical communities. One is a white community and the other is a black community, where the population of drug users in the white community is 5 times larger than that of the black community. But you have this systemic racism, as described by the head of the FBI, that unfairly hounds, targets, and is unfair to the black community. Now, you have all these young black people going to jail, serving a 1, 2, or 5-year prison sentence. That's basically an associate's or bachelor's degree in the life of prison, learning bad habits and having their futures destroyed for having a criminal record. As opposed to you, atheism is unstoppable, where you were never stopped by the cops, nor did you ever serve time in prison for the marijuana that you smoke, and you got to get your degree from DeVry in web design. But getting back on topic, these black people that were imprisoned go back into the community from a recent prison life with their bad habits. They become parents and influence others in that community. It is not just about poverty and whatever other topics you were distorting when you were trying to discuss this recently. There is no such thing as free will. That's why a tribe in Africa would not generate neurosurgeons. That's why spending 2 years in DeVry for a web design degree will likely make you a web designer. That's why spending 4 years in prison will likely enforce bad habits in you, along with having your life destroyed with a criminal record and fewer possibilities for employment. But now, as a simpleton that you are, will say,
I'm talking about murder statistics, not drug statistics.
who do you think commits these murders? Black toddlers? Blacks that work at Wall Street? Black doctors? Black teachers? Or black people that already have a criminal record and that have spent time in prison by this biased system that disproportionately incarcerates blacks?
Even if you say to yourself, I'm focusing on the 16 to 24 black males because those guys are the ones that commit crimes. Yeah, but they're committing crimes because we push them into the cycle. If we want to stop them from committing crimes, we have to stop pushing them into a hopeless cycle.
It doesn't take a DeVry graduate with a web design degree to figure this out, but it does take someone with some racist bias to insist that blacks should continue on being treated unfairly by this system because of what others do.
They're getting victimized. Oh, I'm supposed to feel bad for that?
California.